Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dr. Glenvo. I am super excited. So before we get into our next episode, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Energize Dental Marketing. Energize Dental Marketing offers a lot of marketing services from smart sites, social media marketing, advanced SEO, brand management, community management, consulting, and Google Ads. So if you're looking to level up your practice with marketing, reach out to the guys over at Energize Dental Marketing and ask for the Nifty Thrifty deal. I'm really excited to have this next guest here, but before I introduce him, let me ask you guys this. What if I told you there was someone out there, a consultant and coach, who could help you get beyond one practice if you want to get multiple practices? What if I told you there was someone out there who says, you know what? You don't have to find a bunch of side gigs to make extra money. You don't have to get into real estate. You don't have to open a restaurant. You don't have to open a coffee shop. You don't have to open a dry cleaners. You actually can grow your wealth with your existing practice. And what if I told you that that person has been doing this for years? I like to call him dentistry's best kept secret. I really do. I mean, I know he's everywhere, but I feel like there's so many people, and that's why I'm so excited to have him on. Let me introduce you guys, my friend, founder of Tower Leadership, Eric Morin. Eric, welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here. That was a great intro. Yeah, glad to be here. Super glad to be here. Glad to have this conversation in this subject. So this is an important time to have this conversation. So definitely glad to be here. Thank you. My honor.
Well, I'm just going to dive right into it, right? And it's the first question I think like probably most people ask you. And honestly, that's what I wanted to know about you is, I mean, why dentists, man? We're like crazy, like we're crazy, like how did you get involved with coaching and helping dentists get to that next level? Who dragged you into this?
so as non-dentists get dragged in at some point. So I was an MBA. I was consulting for businesses outside of dentistry, was asked to start a dental practice. This was before private equity and DSOs. And when I came in, I didn't know that you weren't supposed to scale it and hire doctors and all this. I didn't know that. I came in like scale a business like any other business. And so very quickly we went from zero to, multi-doctor, multi-million-dollar clinic like overnight. And then I went inside to my wife's office at the time. And I said, hey, let's go to the next location. She was like, I don't want to do that. And I said, okay, it's fine. And so then I started helping a lot of other doctors do this and start to grow and scale. And then I also went and got all my investment licenses because I was like, why is someone taking money out of an asset doing 20, 30% and putting it somewhere doing 5, 6, 7%? It didn't make sense to me. So I went and got all my investment license, which I let this drop, but I wanted to really understand why are people putting capital in different places than the practice, because it's such an amazing tool. And then when DSOs and private equity came in, I was like, well, yeah, I mean, this is an amazing tool. Why would you put money anywhere else, but really investing capital inside of it? So yeah, that's how I got into this. And then I've been blessed to just work with some of the most talented doctors and groups. And it's been a lot of fun. And it is a lot of fun.
And people kept on coming to you and say, hey, help us. You did this for my buddy. Help me. I mean, again, what I love about where Tower started and where it ended up. I mean, let me ask you this. In your wildest dreams, right? You were just kind of like pulled into it and you had a skill set and you were helping people out and other people kept on coming to you. In your wildest dreams, to see where you started to where you are right now, was that something that you said, okay, you know what? I had that in my head. I was going to go for it. That's it. Or is it still surprise you to this day?
I think that it still surprises me, but it's still so much is moving. I think this is a beautiful time in dentistry if you embrace it. I was just telling someone the other day, I said, listen, if you were to try to scale to the level you wanted to 25 years ago or 20 years ago, maybe even 10 years ago, you couldn't. Not that you couldn't, I shouldn't say that. There's more challenges. There's more resistance. Today, there's very little resistance. If you truly want to move, and literally, I was asked to do a webinar this morning. This is a good topic for this podcast. So I was telling someone, do you understand the economic versus the market value of your dental practice? And I was saying, well, you have to understand that if you have, let's just say you had a $5 million dental practice and you had $1 million of EBITDA, For you to replicate that $1 million, you need $20 million in an investment account at 5%. And so if you don't learn to grow exponentially, the problem is, let's just say the market value for that dental practice doing 5 million in top line revenue. Let's just say that it was a 7 multiple. So they got 7 million. So yeah, it's 7 million, but once you pay the broker fee and you pay the taxes and you pay off any debt you might have, let's just say that you end up with 4 million or whatever it ends up being, and you multiply that by 5%. You're like, well, I just took a gigantic pay cut. So for people to not understand, it's not, I mean, there's ambitious side to it. I love to grow and scale. It could be financial, it could be legacy, but without understanding market and economic value, and understanding that if you truly want to sell, so to speak, you need to capture economic value. And to do that, you have to maximize the growth. And it's an amazing time to do that, but you have to think exponentially, and we can talk about that.
Well, I want to dive into that. And that's a big reason why I was so excited to have you on. And again, I think we made a joke about this. I think I was at one of your events and someone had brought it up. And the way you answered it, it just made everyone laugh. And it was like someone was thinking about, okay, well, I built up my practice and now I want to, dabble into real estate and maybe do this and do that. And you literally presented it just like how you did, like a math problem there. Like, okay, if you invest in real estate, or if you put it in an investment account or whatever, you're getting 5%, and you're just, you're thinking about selling your practice and you're putting it all there. It's just so backwards there. So for the doctors who are watching right now, who have maybe a very healthy practice, maybe they've been in for 10 years and it's very healthy. And now they're thinking about, well, you know what? I'm thinking about, I just want to do some real estate, or I want to do these little side gigs there. What would you tell them, and what have you told doctors, hundreds of doctors who've been in the same situation where they're like, okay, I feel like I've gone as far as I can, and now I'm just going to dabble in everything else. What have you told those doctors? Because again, it just blew my mind when again, everyone's thinking about that. Like, I'll do real estate. That sounds like sexy. I'm gonna fix and flip or do all these different things. And I always kind of laugh because I'm like, you're not a real estate guy.
Yeah,
what are you going to do there?
Whole discipline, right? Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what do you say to those doctors who are like, okay, they have a healthy practice. They're like, okay, I feel like maybe I need to just do something else. What would you say to them?
They haven't built the team and the ability to scale to make it fun yet. The thing is, when we go, so let's just say that you were saying, well, I'm going to invest money into a savings account. It's going to take you $8,333, like to say, per month for 10 years to get to $1 million, right? But you could take a dental practice and increase the valuation $1 million literally within 2 months, 3 months. Like, it's so simple to do that. So why would you start taking, you already have, Warren Buffett once said, diversification is a protection against ignorance, right? If you know the business and you know the product, it's like you were saying, you don't know real estate. Yeah. But if you know dentistry and the business of dentistry, and you lean into it, that's the product you know. And so lean into it. Now, you might get to a place where you can only scale so much in a year, or maybe you have limitations, you have this excess cash, and you might say, hey, I've got some other opportunities. But when you start looking at it, you have to maximize this asset, and the ability to grow net worth in a dental practice organization is absolutely insane. And we can talk whether it's arbitrage moves or just the truth is just exponential growth. I think the challenge with most consulting, I would say two of my strongest expertise are probably in finance and strategy. Mm-hmm. And I would say that the challenge with people is they're thinking on a linear mindset. Yes, revenue cycle management matters. Yes, phoning matters. Yes, hygiene protocol matters. Yes, case conversion matters. Of course it does. Like, that would be absurd to say it doesn't. But even if you got that nailed in, let's just say you were like just amazing at all those things, which is where most consulting companies hang, that's still linear growth. You can only get so much out of that. You can only squeeze so much juice out of that. But if you make the right exponential moves, and then ultimately, if you were trying to do that, all of a sudden now it's like now you can go from 5 million to 20 million in a short period of time, which you couldn't work that hard if you wanted to. And it's knowing really where to put capital, and it's knowing what the strategy to get you there. And whether someone's early career, i.e., I want to scale and conquer the world, or its later career, which is maybe I want to position myself. I was talking to a good friend of ours, Elijah, the other day, and we were talking from a brokerage standpoint. And he said, after this conversation, Eric, I'm going to tell people they need a good 5 to 7 years before they sell. And the reason he said that is because he was like, they need to lean into exponential growth patterns before they sell, because you have to understand when you sell, just the math I was just giving you about the 20 million, because that's the true math, you need to understand that you need to take 5 to 7 years and lean into exponential growth to get what you're trying to get out of it. And you can't do that typically in 8 months, by the way. So you have to kind of think out on the horizon.
Well, before I ask you this next question, I love the fact that you just laid it out like that, because at the end of the day, I mean, if for those who are listening right now, watching, and you're thinking about, hey, possibly doing different things, really what it boils down to is, do you want to do it kind of like the easier way, or you want to do it the hard way? Like you can go open a restaurant if you feel like it, right? Like you can't, you can get into all these other verticals,
Yeah.
but just think about like how you grew your practice, whether it was a startup or an acquisition. You had to grind at some point to get it up there. Do you want to grind in a different industry, right? And again, real estate. Unfortunately, I have a lot of friends who are in real estate, right? And they're like, "Oh man, you can get passive income." But I'm like, I always tell them, I was like, "You guys are flat out lying to everybody." And like, "What do you mean by that?" I was like, "You, my friend, the real estate guy, the dentist turned real estate expert, you spent years and years studying and screwing up. Everyone's looking at you right now like you just like rolled out of bed and became like this real estate mogul. And no, you went through all these things." They're like, "Oh no, I'm not telling that." I was like, but it's like the you're implying that is that easy, and it's not. So I love the fact that you laid it out like that. My next question is this: doctors will think, okay, is it building up my existing practice and making it into a bigger machine? Or is it opening multiple locations? When you're working with different clients, or when you have these conversations with doctors, how do you know which way to go? Or is it more of like a personal decision?
Great question. It's reverse engineering. It's the same thing we do with patient care. Is what is the outcome you're trying to get at, and you're reverse engineering treatment to ultimately get to the outcome. So it's the same exact thing. It's saying, so I had a doctor go literally over $40 million in 11 months in growth. Now that's an outlier. I'm not going to say it's for everybody, but my whole point is that was a different thought process than somebody who says, hey, I can think of someone who was like, hey, my EBITDA is at 485 and I just want to get up to 1 million. And if I got up to 1 million, that's all I need. It depends. You have to reverse engineer it. What are you trying to get accomplished? Are you trying to work clinically? Are you not trying to work clinically? Are you trying to and even the money you get, what I mean by that is if your net proceeds were 10 million, what do you do with the 10 million? What were you going to do after the 10 million? So all of it is part of a strategic conversation. It really depends. I was with a large implant group that's private funded. And I said to them, I looked at it and I said, the strategy's wrong. Like it's completely wrong based on what you guys are trying to get accomplished. So, whether it's a single practitioner, a doctor who's like, Eric, I've been working my tail off. I just want to get, more money, or maybe it's more, I always say, maybe it's put more simply. I always tell people there's 3 reasons to grow a practice. There's 3. 1, income. I want more income. I just want to make more money, Eric. I've been working hard and I just want more money for my family. Now we all want more income, but that's not the chief, right? 2, revenue. Revenue is not about income. Revenue is about scale. So when I go to scale, and the more revenue I have, the better team I can hire, the more associates I can hire, the better a CMO, a CTO, a CIO, and a bunch of other O's, or a director of operations, or whatever position you're looking for. The bigger I get, the more I can put together a talented team to allow me to focus on the things I love. That's why you grow revenue. 3rd, valuation. I'm trying to hit valuation. Valuation matters the most to me. So depending on what your goal is, you're going to make different moves. And so you've got to know clearly, and that's why or have someone guide you on what is the chief thing you want to do. Now, certainly all 3 of them play a role, but which is your chief one? And you'll find that one of those is usually the primary growth operator.
So, for those who are listening right now, I mean, they're like, okay, that sounds great, Eric. But I built a successful practice, right? I'm doing really good. Why can't I just keep doing what I'm doing and just grow that way? What do you say to those people? Because I'm sure you get a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure you get a lot of, they come in, they're like, look, I'm kicking some butt, man. I'm doing good,
Yeah, great doctors. Sure.
So, but again, like for me, and this is the reason why we get along so well. I always feel like whenever you get to another level, it's like climbing a mountain,
Sure.
right?
That's right.
Climb a mountain, you get to a level. the air is different, the vegetation's different, the temperature's different. Then you get used to it. Then you climb up and you get the other ones there. So for those who are like, I feel like I'm at the top, right? What do you say to them? And what have you said to them? Because again, we have we have friends who feel like they know everything, right? And we have, and I'm sure you run into those people. But what do you say to them? Because I'm sure you get that all the time, and I'd love for you to just address them right now for the ones who are listening and wondering, like, well, I'm doing all right, man. Like, what else? What else do I need to do?
Well, first I'll say this. There's a direct correlation between the ability to ask questions and net worth. And the people that I've worked with that have the highest net worth ask the most questions. The people that over $100 million ask the most questions. The people who haven't figured out at 5 million or 6 million in revenue, that's where they stop. Their growth completely stops. And they're just like, those are the people that really, it's like, okay, you're amazing. You've done a good job. But they're missing it, because the truth is this too. If you're going to build an amazing organization, you have to attract top talent. Yeah. And top talent doesn't need to work for you. They have choices, and they don't want to work with people that are arrogant. They don't want to work with people who have all the answers. They don't want to work with people who think that they've got it under control. They want to work with people who can inspire them, motivate them, lead them, show them a vision, who are great people to work with. The most successful people I know are kind. They're good people. They care about people. And that's kind of not always portrayed the way that we see it. But I'm telling you, the organizations that think they have it all together, oftentimes at the very top, if you talk to the midsection, they go, man, this place is a mess. Yeah. And so I would say the more vulnerable, the more maybe humble we are, the more ability to grow. And that's a true statement. I could show you so many case studies of where when people stop being humble, they stop growing.
Well, as someone who's been to one of your events, who's met your team and actually met most of your team, I'll say you have an amazing team. I mean, I keep on forgetting her name, but she was literally
Lisa.
I mean, she's like a director of a DSO, right?
Yeah,
she was a director of the DSO, managed all these, and she works with Eric. And that's the thing I told Eric. I was like, man, she works for you, and you're like, no, she works with me. Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, she works with me, but you're not just saying this just to say it. You actually live by this, and your team, I mean, you always remind me, like, they're good, but they're very well compensated.
That's right.
And you make that point. Yeah. Really talented people, they have options.
They have options. My team could leave tomorrow and go get a job, pick up the phone. And I'm not exaggerating. I don't think I have anyone on my payroll who doesn't get paid really well. And they could all pick up the phone this afternoon if I did not treat them well and have a job. And when I sometimes I appreciate the words as that day, Glenn, and I'll tell you this, when you have that type of team, I'm telling you where you can go is just, it's insane. But you do wake up and you go, how did I get to work with these amazing, really smart people? And these people are brilliant. They're just absolutely brilliant. I believe in taking care of your team. I do believe that I'm part of a team, and that I am only where I'm at because of them. And that my job is to serve them. And I'm lucky and blessed that I get to work with them. And if I keep that attitude, they come in, they're the ones traveling. They're the ones going out and seeing these clients. They're the ones having the impact in these offices. And I'm pretty blessed. You got to build a great team. Like, if you're going to do something awesome, you got to build a great team. And when you take care of them, they'll do anything for you.
Well, I want to go back to, Eric, there's so many things that you said over the time that we've known each other. I'm like, oh, but that's awesome, file away. And I want to give you a shout out right now for one thing you just said just now. And you were talking about the 3 reasons why you want to grow your practice, right? And I want to go back to the revenue thing, because you said something that, you probably said a lot of times but I just keyed in on it. And it goes back to what you just said here is, you want to grow your revenue because you want to create an amazing team. And so for those who are like watching this, they're like, hey, I'm doing good. But what if there's like the rock star out there that's like another level, right? Another level. And you really can't acquire them because they're working for bigger companies or bigger practices. But what if you grew your practice and you can hire them? I mean, it's so simple, but it's mind blowing because, again, a lot of times doctors tie into like, okay, I want to grow my practice. I want to make more money. I want more money in my pocket. But you kind of like twist it around. It's like, okay, that is important, but man, don't you want to grow it because you want to do something special, right? Or hire someone who is special and bring them into the team.
I think that when we get into like Dan Sullivan will talk about, the entrepreneurial freedoms, freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of purpose, and freedom of relationship. And I say, yeah, but that's not all of them, right? Because if you had all those things, but you never felt like you accomplished your life's goals, then you wouldn't feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
We're always battling this thing about personal fulfillment, right? Let's call it self-fulfillment, right? And then self-actualization, which is, if I sat down with you and I actually showed you what you could accomplish, if I actually drew it out for you, because I believe there's only two limiting factors, mindset and capital. That's it. Those are the only two limiting factors. Outside of that, I can grow you to whatever number you want it to. And so let's just say that your actualization was $100 million, and you would be surprised how many people are listening can get to $100 million. They just don't believe they can, which goes to mindset. But if we were to do that, you would say, okay, let's just say, but to get $100 million, you'd have to give up all your free time, right? You'd say, well, I don't want to do that. And you go, well, I'm willing to give up some actualization, right? To have some more freedom, some more freedom of time. Well, the thing about that is that if you actually drew that on a graph, right? Self-actualization on the Y, right? Self-fulfillment on the X, and you came to that point, you'd say, well, how do I go further? Like, how do I extend my actualization, but not give up fulfillment? And the answer is leverage. If you leverage great talent, you can continue to grow and multiply without giving up personal fulfillment, without giving up time with your family, without all these things. You actually get more of that the more you lean into leverage, but you can't do that unless you understand that you got to take care of people and you got to invest in people. And you can't do that if you don't grow your business. Like, talented people want to get paid well, but you have to inspire those people, and then you've got to be able to pay them. And that's one of the reasons why we want to grow revenue. It's not just for more money or just for, like I said, valuation. It might just be because then I get to take more time with my family. I've got a doctor that I love who's become a really good friend. And he said to me one day, he goes, Eric, I'm completely actualized and completely fulfilled. He has surgeons working for him. He's got, multiple locations plus an implant center. He's like, he literally doesn't even live in the same state as his practice anymore. He's like, I met this guy, he's 15 times his locations, his practice since he's met me. And he's like, my life is great. I love my life. So, I would say to people listening is that, well, first I would say is you have to create a goal. Like, if you were to, so let's just say you were going to go from 1 million. And if you look at most people's goals, so let's say it's 1.6 million. And you would say, most people say, well, how can I go from 1.6 to 2.2 in a year? And most consulting, and these are good people in the marketplace, most consulting is dealing with linear growth. So they're dealing with the simplicity of if we got some phones better, we could probably go up higher. If we got some case conversion up, we could probably get higher. So they're trying to get to 2.2. What I would say is, how do you go from the 1.2 or 1.6 to $10 million in 12 months? And that's what I would challenge you. And then when you do that, you ask a different set of questions, and you realize you have to have time to focus on these things. Now, some people listening say, I don't want to do that. That sounds crazy, Eric. That's fine. Fine. Make it 5 million, whatever. But that's the way you solve this. And you would find yourself, you change your floor, and you would have to ask a different set of questions.
Yeah.
And when you ask a different set of questions, you'll get different solutions. And those solutions allow you to scale much faster. And most people are focused on linear growth instead of exponential growth. And the exponential is when you ask a different set of questions.
I love that. So, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people, and I remember when I first met you and I first listened to you speak, and I went to the president. I mean, I had all those questions and I got a lot of them answered. But for those who are out there who are listening to this and they're listening first time, where they're thinking I can't imagine going from this level to that level, right? I can't imagine. Just let everyone know, this is not bragging. We're just talking facts here, right? Just off the top of your head, talk about what is your normal client avatar right now? What I'm not talking about the one that just joined. I'm talking about the ones that have been with you for an extended period of time. Just let everyone know what they're doing, because again, I want you guys to realize, and I've met some of his clients, so I know he's not just making it up, right? I want you guys to realize you're trying to wrap your head around the type of doctors Eric is working with and what he's done for them. Just let them know what the practices that have been with you for a long time, what do they look like? 10 locations, 5 locations?
Yeah.
Just start out there, because I think they need to understand what is possible.
Well, it's interesting because our leadership team was was really focused on, we don't really want anyone to be under 5 million. What I mean by that is they came to us at 1.6 or 1.7 or 2.1, and we got them to $5 million real fast. Our average client right now is over 5 million. Why? And it's actually it's under 5 million. It's actually like 4.9 or something like that. And I'll tell you why. Why? Because they come in at like 1.6 or 2.1, and then we grow them really quick to 5 million. Then from there, then it's like their aspirations. So we've got people that we've grown from, 1 location to 5 locations. We just had a client that ultimately added 6 locations in 6 months. And went on social media and was like, Tower Leadership's how I did this. Because someone was like, how did you go from 6 locations? How did you add 6 locations in 6 months? Tower Leadership. The reason I say that is because we have people who are adding, we have now a lot of people are coming to us that are 10 locations, 12 locations, 14 locations. And they're asking, okay, we want to really grow and scale. I think that intimidates people sometimes. I think that when you hear that number, and sometimes when people sit in a room and they're like, hey, we've got these people that are around me that are 10 locations and 15 locations or whatever, it's intimidating, but don't be, because they had to start at 1.6 or 2.2.
They were probably at their same situation.
And honestly, sometimes when you're at 2.2, your ability to grow and scale is better because your mindset. And so it's interesting if you lay that out. So yes, we have clients that are 1 location, and we have clients that are over 70 locations. So it's our clients that are working with us are growing very fast. The lowest growth rate we have on clients is somewhere around 30% annually. So our clients
sounds pretty good to me, Eric.
Our clients are growing at a great pace, and we're really selective. And what are we selective about? We just want to work with people who are great people who really want to scale and who really care. I do want to work with people who are good people who care about people. And I do want to work with people who are ambitious and driven. So that hungry, humble, smart thing, right? I want to work with people that are hungry. And it doesn't matter to me if somebody's at 1.6 or they're at 27 million. If they're hungry and they want to build it, we can build a strategy, and it's just like, where do you want to go? And then the question is, are you willing to let a team member or myself push you in a way you've never been pushed mentally? Because you have to change your ceiling. Your ceiling and your floor have to change. The things you're willing to tolerate, maybe from a time, maybe from a clinical standpoint, your floor has to change, but so does your ceiling. You have to be thinking in a way a different way. You have to realize that you can go from 1.6 to 10 million in 12 months. You have to know that. And when I say that to people, some people are like, that's crazy, but it's really not. And so you have to be ambitious. Yeah, you do.
Well, again, you guys don't have to take my word for it. There's a lot of clients that have gone through Eric's system that are still part of the group. And I can't wait to get you guys.
Well, I gotta say this part right now, because I gotta brag about this. I don't have much of self-bragging, but I gotta say this one. Our renewal rate right now at Tower Leadership is 89%. I'm going to say that because 10% of them probably ultimately didn't want to do the work anyhow. So that would say that I retain almost every single person inside of Tower Leadership that I want to retain. So 89%, go look at ChatGPT and ask what retention on consulting companies is. And especially in the dental space, go to ChatGPT and say, what is the retention rate in a dental consulting company? And you'll see 89%. Why 89%? Because we're getting massive returns. And I'm not trying to push Tower Leadership. I'm just saying like you got to be if it's not Tower Leadership, you got to understand that you got to work with a team that has, we have accounting, accountants, we have billing. We can tear apart your training. We can tear apart your operations. We can tear apart your strategy. We can look at your finance. If you've got a team that's very sophisticated, that can look at every part of what you're doing, they can build this machine for you. And that's what you need. You need a strategy to really then plot out for the next. It's just like the same thing for a patient. Like you give them a strategy. You say, this is the treatment plan. You need a bigger treatment plan.
Yeah, I love it. And guys, before I talk about how you guys can learn more and whatnot, I can't bring a entrepreneur like Eric onto the show without asking you the 3 entrepreneur questions I ask everybody. So Eric, we're going to shift gears right now. And the first thing I want to ask you is, what is a productivity tip or an app or a tool, something that you use that keeps you really productive, that you use, that you can share with all our listeners that we can implement in our lives?
Let me tell you one that I did this year that tripled my productivity. I invested in a person who's an MBA to be my EA.
Wait.
And
Your EA has an MBA.
my EA is an MBA. That's right.
Okay, I
So,
gotta hear
so,
this.
so my EA is an MBA. And I went out and I found an MBA to be my right hand. And that has tripled my production. I can give her a project. I don't have to like sit down with her and go, let me explain this to you. Let me like, she runs with things that I never even like. I opened my laptop one time and I was starting a presentation. I came back to my desk. She said, yeah, I finished that for you. But I didn't even tell her what to do. She literally is working on our online platform. She's creating a new company for me. I mean, I'm telling you right now, when I say triple, I mean triple. I've laid out my entire strategy. Like I told you, one of my strengths is strategy. I laid out the entire strategy. I showed her every part of it, and she just goes. And I don't have to tell her anything. In fact, she comes to me and she's like, "I did this. I got this. I got this." So going back to investing in talent, I've hired the $50,000 EA. I've hired the $80,000 EA. I finally hired an EA who's an MBA. I said, I want a right hand who's smart, who can run with me, and I don't have to tell her what to do. And that was my greatest productivity tip. I am literally right now. I'm in the middle of writing 3 books, growing multiple businesses, retooling an online platform, creating 2 apps. I mean, I could keep going on and on, and it's all because of her.
And something really important we talked offline, but we need to share because I want to just show how well-rounded Eric is, and he's also about to add to his family too. We forgot to add the most important thing there. So I mean, even time for the family, and with that being said, you guys are probably thinking like this guy probably works all the time. Like he never takes a day off. No, he does. He does. That's the reason why we're doing the podcast right now. He was on vacation and stuff like that, but he does. But here's the thing, Eric, you want all that for your clients and for the people who are thinking about working with you, right?
That's right.
And that's the thing. That's why I love practice what he preaches. Okay, the next thing I need to ask you. So, okay, that EA thing just blew my mind because now I'm like, maybe there's another level there for myself.
I gotta tell you, like I'll talk offline. I'll tell you, I've been literally, I've told her I've never seen anything like it. She's so bright. I'm like, I've never seen anything like this. When I say triple, I mean triple. I mean, I'm getting things done I would have never gotten done in a million years. And when I step away from, I do work a lot, but I'm also I do everything. When I rank things on a 1 to 10, and I try to nail as much as a 10 as I can, but that's also spending time with my family and making sure that I'm leaning into those things. And she's allowed me to be able to do that and get so much more done. Yeah. Wow. Leverage.
Well, so the next question I want to ask you is, what is a book or a resource? I know a lot of some people don't read, they like podcasts and whatnot, but what's a book or resource that has been impactful to you that you would recommend like everyone checking out?
Ben Hardy's new book. If you haven't read it, you got to. Now the exact title is like Scaling to Success or whatever it is. Just trust me, right? Dr. Benjamin Hardy, Scaling Success or Success in Scaling. I think it's Success in Scaling. If I didn't get the title exactly right, just type in Benjamin Hardy, you'll be fine. And it will pop up. I'm telling you right now, if you're not reading this book and you want to scale, you're making a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake. It's an amazing. Ben Hardy's done a lot of work with Dan Sullivan, wrote some really good books, 10X is easier than 2X, right? So that same mindset. But if you're thinking about scaling and you're looking to raise your ceiling mentally, remember I told you mindset and capital. You got to raise your mindset, read things that raise your mindset. I'm telling you right now, go read that book, go download the audio, run on the trail and listen to it, whatever you do. But read more books about scaling. This morning, I was at this gym, and for like the 4th time I read Blitz Scaling, or I was listening to Blitz Scaling. Listen to books about exponential thinking, and you'll be surprised what they do to your lid. But that's a really good book right now that just came out, I think, like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, well, I'm definitely going to sign up for that. But I'm going to ask you a question that is something I was going to ask you earlier. What's more important, mindset or capital to you?
Mindset, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You can always get capital if you have the right mindset. If you have the right mindset, you can get capital because people love to invest in great people and great ideas. And if you can grow your mindset, then you're going to attract people with higher mindsets. And then you'll aggregate mindset and then you'll attract capital 100%.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Okay. So the next question, this is going to be a hard one. And if you're like me, you probably made a million mistakes and you don't know where to choose from. But what is one mistake that you've made that was very impactful to you that you would feel that would be also very impactful for others to learn from?
I've got two of them. Can I do two? Am I allowed to do
Yeah,
two?
yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
of
two,
course.
just at the top of my brain. And one of the things that Glenn and I talked about before this podcast, we both love open format podcasts. So there's none of the scripted. We just don't know what we're going to say. But here's two I really love. Gosh, I learned without I learned over time you've got to invest in great people. And I know that's redundant a little bit here, but I'm telling you, every time I've invested in the wrong person and I didn't cut them quickly, I made a mistake. You've got to invest in top talent. I'm telling you, you're making a mistake. Most people don't realize that your executive team needs to be at least 5%, but yet they had an office manager that they were paying 60 grand to when they were 800 grand, and now they're 6 million and they're still paying 60 grand or 70 grand. You've got to invest in top talent. If you want to scale, you can't be cheap. Invest in people around you that are bright and brilliant and have ideas and that you don't have to handhold, just like my assistant. You got to invest in those people. Trust me, they will pay for themselves tenfold. You've got to go get great talent. You got to aggregate those people. They will help you scale. But if you try to scarcity and save every dollar, trust me, you won't scale. I would say that's probably the number one thing out of this podcast. I mean, a lot of things, but you should get that. And then I would say that if you're going to scale, right, you need to think in bigger numbers. I think sometimes I let other people limit my mindset when I was scaling certain things. So what I mean by that is like somebody will tell you that this is how you scale a dental practice. And then so you believe that mindset. Anytime I've ever let someone else tell me what's possible, it's slowed me down. And I would say that don't listen to what your friends, by the way, people want to see you do well, just not better than them. Don't listen to other people telling you what's possible. If you want to find out what's possible, go talk to the practices doing what you already want to do, and you'll find that you'll scale so much quicker because a lot of them have conversations with people like me and people that are around us that are talking about these kind of concepts, just like you, my friend.
Well, it's a quote. I'm probably going to quote this wrong, but I've heard it so many times where people are like, the people who are doing really amazing things, the people who have gone to all these different levels, they're not, they're never going to hate on you for your ambition. It's always the people who don't do anything, they hate on you for your ambition or what you're trying to do. Right. And so that's something that's always resonated with me because look, at the end of the day, and it could come from, I mean, it could come from genuine haters, or it could come from people who actually care about you, right? They care about you so much that they think that you can't do something because they couldn't do it. And so I think that's so valuable, Eric, because I mean, it's someone right now who's listening right now, and they probably feel like, well, I have a like $1 million practice, and it's just me, and everyone else is there, and so I'm just gonna stay there. But hopefully, this resonates with someone, and now they can be thinking, well, maybe I have a little bit more that I can do. So I think that is huge.
Well, just remember that this we've been given a lie, which is it's lonely at the top. That lie has kept us from actually collaborating. The truth is, collaboration happens at the top. The best people are collaborating. The best people are sharing ideas. The best people are talking about strategies. You want to put yourself in circles where people have bigger and better ideas. And the truth is like that. That's why I said mindset matters. Collaboration is happening at the top. You got to collaborate. And the truth is people are probably holding you back that aren't collaborating in those circles. And maybe they're sharing their ideas or maybe their own limited mindsets, as you said, right? Maybe it's some limited mindset they have, but I will promise you, everyone listening to this, your potential is so much bigger than you even believe. And I've proven that over and over again. The reason I was able to take a group literally from 10 to $50 million in 11 months is because their mindset was big. And so when people have that mindset, I'm just telling you, and like I said, that's not everybody, but the point to know is like, if they can do that, what could you do for your practice with the right mindset, with the right mentality, with the right ambition, with the right strategy in front of you? What could you do? And it's much bigger than you think.
I love it. Before we talk about like how to get a hold of you, to work with you, I do want to bring up like a phenomenon that comes up in the Nifty group all the time, and I want your opinion on that. And that is people who are always complaining about their staff wanting a little bit more money, right? Hey, they want a couple more bucks, or my staff's not loyal and whatnot. And I've always told doctors that you actually have to meet your team. I mean, before they buy into your culture, before they buy into all the amazing things you do, all the extras, right? You got to meet them at their core need, right? They need to be able to pay their bills. They need to be able to live comfortable. They need to be, if you can't meet them there, then you can be the best boss in the world. You can be the nicest person in the world. You can take them out to eat. You can do all these different things, but if you can't meet their core need, they're going to be looking around. What do you say to these doctors who are always complaining like, hey, like my team member wants this and whatnot? I think I'm just listening to what you were saying about paying for top talent. I also feel like you have to pay to retain top talent. So what would you say to those doctors who are like, complaining like, oh, my staff always wants a little bit more money and this and that? What would you say to them?
I challenge you to reframe the way you look at the problem. What you look at it is and say, my person wants more money. How do they expect me to pay them more money? If they want more money, they can leave. They can go find another job. Instead of saying, how do I get them that money? See, we think it's their fault, their problem, their challenge. What if you were to say, what if I built an organization? Now, I'm not saying that they don't deserve it, by the way. I'm not saying I assume that they're bringing the value, right? But if you looked at it and said, my job is to take care of them. And my job is to maybe I want the highest paid team in the whole area. I want my retention to be at 100% or 97%. And like, I'm going to kill myself I'm going to make the best damn place to work. I'm going to take care of my team. I'm going to make sure we have high margins. We have great customers, because what you would find if you took care of that team and you made them the highest paid and you worked on it and you took care of them, they would probably take care of the patients. Your probably patient attrition would go down to almost nothing. Your care would go up. Your camaraderie would go up. Other people would want to come to your organization because, by the way, they all talk anyhow. They probably want to come to your organization. You'd be like, I don't have a talent problem. I don't know where to put all these people. Yeah. I think you're fundamentally looking at it wrong. And the challenge is we go talk to our friends who say the same damn thing, which is wrong too. And then we listen to them. No, your job as an employer, you say, how did you get such a great team, Eric? Because my job is to take care of them. I look at their goals and say, when they start for me, I'm very selective who I let in the door. But when I let them in the door, my job is to sit across from them because I made a commitment to them. And I say, how can I help you reach your goals? Yeah. And my job is to help them reach their goals. And they know, and this is why they stay with me. I can't remember the last time someone left Tower. The reason why is because I'm constantly fighting to help them reach their goals. And that's what I don't look at them and go, I don't look at the pay period and go, I can't believe I'm paying people this much money. It's so hard. I mean, how can they ask me for, I go, that's awesome.
Yeah. You told me you get excited. You get excited to cut them checks.
I get to cut these checks, these awesome people. And by the way, I'm doing okay. All right. So it's okay. So anyhow, that's what I would say is reframe the conversation, be around people that think differently. That goes back to that ceiling again. You got to increase your floor. Quit hanging around those types of people, having those kind of conversations. Increase the floor, the things you're willing to tolerate, the conversations you're willing to tolerate, and then push the ceiling of new conversations.
I love it. Okay. Well, man, this was amazing. I mean, I can't wait. We definitely got to bring you back. We got to bring you back for webinars and so much more. I'm lucky, guys. I'm really lucky. Friends with Eric. I shoot him text messages and bug him all the time, But with that being said, you can also bug him too. You actually could come to his events and talk to him. I mean, this is not something where at Eric's events, he's somewhere far away and you got to fight through like a mob of like team members to get to him. Like literally when I went to this first event, he was going around talking to everybody. Very approachable. This is different, guys. So for those who want to learn more, Eric, where should they start? I
would say, look, if you go to our website, towerleadership.com, there's a million ways to just set up a time to talk to somebody. Of course, we have these introductory events. And the one you went to, I keep small because I want to be able to get around to everybody. Yeah. And we want to make sure we're engaging with everybody because just like you're selecting us, we're selecting you. And so we ultimately want to have great people doing great things. So I would say, go onto the website. Set up a call. Our team's nice. They're not going to try to sell you anything. I promise you. They're just going to have a conversation with you. They're going to ask you what's going on, what you're trying to accomplish. And if we're the right fit, great. If we're not the right fit, that's okay too. We'll kind of point you in the right direction. But we are in a place in dentistry where you need great direction. You need people to kind of objectively have a conversation with you. I would say that's the best way. You can listen to Dental Wealth Podcast where I talk a lot about my philosophy. You can go read Financial Evolution. You can read Dental Wealth. And I'm about to come out with the book called The $10 Million Mistake, which is the mistake people are making when they're selling their practices, which will be out in about a week. And I got 3 more books now that I've got an MBA EA that coming out this year. So look, get involved. Got a little resource if you want to listen to. I'd go to towerleadership.com and just honestly set up a strategy call, have a conversation with our team. They're nice folks. Like I told you, we don't have anyone who's trying to sell you something. They're just going to have a conversation with you and then take it from there.
And you guys can always reach out to me. I'm in touch with a lot of Eric's team. I can make those introductions as well. And then you can come and see for yourself just like I did. Eric, thank you so much for jumping on, man. I appreciate it. Super inspiring. Guys, we'll have everything in the show notes. I'll have ways for you guys to reach out. But Eric, thank you so much for your time, and we'll definitely bring you back on.
Thank you, my friend. This has been an honor and a pleasure. You guys have a
Bye, everyone.